Welcome back. Today we uncover a lost Clone Wars story. The moment Anakin Skywalker first met Thrawn. Forced to work together, they launch a desperate mission to save Padme. But what they discover could change the fate of the entire galaxy. He kicked the dorsal fins and threw a burst from the emergency micro-thrusters, the ones the manual said were for docking corrections and the ones he used for stupidity. The tractor slid off. He dropped the last 30 meters like an insult and scraped the hull across a shelf of rock, sparks tearing away under him. The fighter ground to a halt. He was alive. R2 was swearing. He unfastened his harness, half laughed and half gasped, and then felt the shadow again, the unknown ship settling into a vertical hover, quiet as a winter thought, a hatch opening upon a spill of lambent light. Figures appeared, rope-silent, rifles slung but not pointing. Their skin was dusk blue. Their eyes, he met one pair and felt the hair rise on his arms, were red and watchful. The one in front wore a uniform softer in line than a Republic officer's, but with an economy that made it feel more formal. He stepped to the very lip of the hatch and looked down at the Jedi with the careful, curious regard of a mathematician meeting a new operation. When he spoke, the comm didn't carry the sound. He spoke to the air, and the air brought the words to Anakin anyway.
I am Mithra Nuruodo of the Chiss Ascendancy. Your incursion risks waking things that prefer to sleep. You are either very brave, very foolish, or very attached.
Anakin jumped from the cockpit, boots thudding on hot rock. He didn't unclasp his lightsaber, but his hand was on the emitter ring.
My name is Anakin Skywalker! A Republic senator crashed here. I'm not leaving without her.
Mithra Nuruodo's eyes flicked, subtle, analytic, over the fighter's scoring, the angle of its skid marks, the places where the landing struts had failed to deploy, not because they were broken, but because their pilot hadn't had the luxury to remember. He looked at R2, at the droid's carbon scoring like a constellation, then back at Anakin.
Then we have a problem of mutual interest. Separatist forces have established a manufacturing node on this world. They will have captured someone of value. They will intend to move her off-world, but not immediately. Their officer caste prefers to catalog before transport. We have minutes, perhaps hours.
Then stop posturing and help me get her back.
I do not posture, I position.
Before Anakin could retort, a burst of blue-white shock snapped overhead. The tactical droid had brought up an anti-air battery from the second dropship. A bolt clipped the Chiss ship's flank. The hoverglide wobbled, corrected. The soldiers on the ramp did not flinch. They simply adjusted by millimeters, as if they'd known the air would change there all along. The Chiss gestured once. His own gunners answered in a calm spearfall of fire that stripped the droid battery to its skeleton. He looked back at Anakin.
We will assist, under conditions.
Conditions?
You will not fire on my ship. You will not endanger my crew by improvising in ways you cannot complete. And you will allow me to choose the point of entry. You are singularly talented, but you fight the way a storm fights. I prefer to arrive like weather.
R2 hooted a skeptical warble. Anakin didn't smile.
Her name is Padme Amidala. She is a Republic senator.
Mithra Nuruodo's eyes measured that catch with the same dispassion he'd measured the fighter's skid.
Yes, I can see that she is.
He lifted two fingers. A small recon drone uncoupled from the ship's underside and zipped into the ravine, its sensors whispering. The Chiss's gaze went distant for a heartbeat. They are moving her toward a hardpoint in the eastern fault, he said. They have chosen not to risk air. Wise, given your arrival. The recon feed translated into a crisp, hollow schematic in Anakin's gauntlet screen. A path, a sequence of choke points, heat sources glowing like coals.
I know that ridge. We cut them off here, at the slag bridge.
We will not cut them off. We will persuade them to take a different route, one that ends in an accident they won't notice until it is too late. Your senator has already opened the vents for us.
Anakin's throat worked. A dozen answers flashed and died. He was so used to command, to pushing, to getting to the heart of the fire and wrenching what he needed from it. This man was something else, an ally made of angles. From deeper in the ravine, a BX voice echoed, mocking.
Senator, run faster.
Anakin's head whipped around. His hand finally closed around the lightsaber. The chiss did not look.
If you ignite it now, you will warn them that we are near and make them faster.
He took one step into empty air and was simply on the ground, as if the planet had shortened itself to meet him.
Come, Anakin Skywalker. I will show you how to be a storm that the enemy mistakes for a breeze.
Anakin hesitated one fraction of a heartbeat. Then he followed. They moved like two different definitions of speed. Anakin went in leaps, using the Force the way a climber uses a well-loved rope. The Chiss went in lines, choosing each footfall, so the next 7 were inevitable. Behind them, the Ascendancy soldiers flowed in pairs, rifles low, boots whispering, as if the rocks themselves had taught them silence. At the mouth of the slag bridge, a ribbon of cooled lava that arched across a pit of slow red, Thrawn, the shortened name revealed by his soldiers' clipped murmurs, raised his hand. Anakin stopped beside him and looked down. Droids filed along the curve, Padme in their center, wrists bound, chin high and eyes furious. A tank droid lumbered at the rear, cannon rebuilt enough to threaten. Above, 2 vultures circled, search patterns tight. Anakin's breath knotted. He shifted forward. Thrawn's palm met his chest without force, only instruction.
The vent you opened. It will exhale again when the next tremor peaks. In 8, 7.
He didn't count. He listened. The planet's small shudder passed into his boots. He exhaled.
Now.
He tapped a device. A handful of adhesive charges he'd placed by touch during their short run answered with low, chuffing pops. Not explosions. Vents. They opened tiny mouths along the underside of the bridge, at 4 points, calculated for amplification. The bridge exhaled. A wet, scalding breath swept up through cracks Padme had woken, and Thrawn had widened. Vulture droids' optics fogged, then failed. Their formation turned loose at once. The tank droid braked, legs splaying. The B-1 shrieked and fired blindly. The BX in front grabbed Padme's arm on instinct, and then jerked its hand back as superheated air seared its sensors through the seam at its wrist. Anakin didn't wait for permission. He dropped. His boots hit the bridge in the same beat his saber ignited, with a sound that sang in Padme's bones. Blue on blue. He moved through the steam, a sketch of light. Droids fell in pieces, their halves still trying to report to one another as they died. The tank droid found him with a roar. He took 3 steps, leapt, and came down on its face with both feet, saber turning the last function of its cannon into a scatter of cooling slag. Padme pivoted as a BX snapped a binder's line around her ankles. She threw her weight, used the droid for leverage, and came up hard into its knee joint. It buckled. She snatched its own pistol and fired, point blank. It went down, smoking. Thrawn arrived without drama, without a raised voice, and shot the tactical droid between its optics without even looking at it. He fired once more into the comms relay pack on its back. Its fall cut the local network with the dispassion of a scalpel.
Hello.
Padme said, breathless, eyes fierce and wet at once.
You took your time.
Anakin laughed, wild with relief and terror and love.
Traffic.
Later your conversation will fit better in a quieter place.
The bridge groaned. The vent exhaled again, this time with anger. Steam bloomed. A sheet of glass along the edge spidered.
Run,
Thrawn said. They ran. A vulture droid, half blind, dove at the sound of feet. Thrawn shot it once, low, into its sensor cluster. It smacked the bridge and skidded off into the red below like a thrown plate. They cleared the last third of the span as the slag bridge cracked. Padme stumbled. Anakin caught her, swung her, and the world behind them went white and then black. The bridge sheared in two and fell like tired silk. The heat slapped their backs like a hand. They tumbled to safety against a basalt fin. Padme's laugh tore itself free, half sob, half triumph. She pressed her forehead to Anakin's for the barest, unforgivable second. Thrawn turned his head away, granting a courtesy he had not named. A new sound cut the air, a deep-toned horn, metallic and ancient. Thrawn's eyes sharpened.
Is not separatist.
Across the far ridge, something enormous lifted on 4 taloned legs from a shadowed hangar scooped into the rock, a crawler built of black plates and old metal, old like grave markers. Its prow carried an emblem that was not of this war. Its back bristled with antennae, like the spines of a sea creature that had learned to speak frequency. It opened its mouth, and the horn sounded again, a warning to anything with a heart. Padme's fingers tightened on Anakin's sleeve.